I want to go now to the opposition leader, Peter Dutton. He joins us live from the Sydney CBD. Thanks for joining us, Peter.
Thanks very much, Chris. Appreciate it, mate.
I want to start off on nuclear energy because I reckon you must be very pleased that at the moment the only criticism of domestic nuclear energy for Australia coming from the Labor Party is the issue of cost. Surely that means they've accepted that nuclear power is safe, that waste disposal isn't a problem, that the technology is not objectionable for this country.
Well, Chris, all you're getting at the moment is, the personal attacks from Chris Bowen and Anthony Albanese. And I think what that says, as you rightly point out, is that they don't have much material to work with and they don't have a legitimate argument against the facts. The fact is that the Prime Minister has signed up to the AUKUS deal, which means that our sailors go on to the nuclear-powered submarine, and it's safe to do so. So they don't have any argument against the technology because it's used in the nuclear submarines, as we're proposing to do with the small modular reactors here, the latest technology, latest generation. They don't have any issues around waste because the government under AUKUS has committed to disposing of the nuclear waste from the submarines and also the reactors at end of life as well. That was part of the agreement that they've signed up to with the US and the UK. We've said where the location should be, that is in brownfield sites. We've got a coal-fired generator coming to an end of life. And the logic to that, of course, is that you can use the existing poles and wires to distribute the energy to households instead of the government's crazy policy of rolling out 28,000 kilometres of new poles and wires.
What is the cost of nuclear fuel electricity long-term compared to renewable energy?
Well, there's a big capital cost in any of these technologies, but what we need to do is get electricity prices down in our country. In Ontario, they're paying half the cost of what Australians are paying for their electricity because of nuclear power. We know that in the United States at the moment, there are some businesses who are leaving Australia to go and set up their manufacturing plants there. They're paying 1/3 the electricity cost that Australian manufacturers are paying here. So I want to bring the price of electricity down. I want to make sure that we have stability in the market so that we don't have the blackouts and brownouts that we're going to get more and more regularly under Chris Bowen and Anthony Albanese. I want cleaner power, which we can do because this is a zero emissions technology. I don't believe the government has a credible pathway to get to net zero by 2050. And we have the ability to firm up renewables in the system instead of switching from an old system, which is working, from coal to 100% renewables, which is Labor's proposal. It's a recipe for the lights to go out and for your power bills to continue to go up.
Yeah, given the need to stabilise our system and, of course, back up renewables with some dispatchable, reliable baseload power, is it worth doing this regardless of cost? Is getting into the nuclear age and all of the reliability and certainty that can give this country worth doing regardless of cost?
Well, I think there's certainly an element, an intangible, if you like, and as you point out, to have that stability and the reliability. We know that of the G20 nations, 19 are using nuclear or have signed up to do so. Australia is the only one that doesn't. And in countries where they have it, the price is much cheaper. But I wouldn't be advocating if there wasn't reliability and there wasn't a cheaper outcome for consumers, both domestic and the commercial and industrial users. I want our country, my vision for our country in part, is to make sure that we can keep manufacturing on shore, that we can grow those jobs. I don't want to see Australian manufacturers exported under Labor's energy policy because we lose the jobs, we lose the economic productivity, we just end up importing the products back in. And if we have stability in the system, if we can bring prices down, which I believe that we can, then we can have a very bright future as a country. But if we have intermittent power, lights going out, brownouts, blackouts, a reliance on battery technology that only lasts for 1 or 2 hours, businesses will leave and power bills will continue to skyrocket under Labor, which means that people, particularly those on fixed incomes, pensioners and self-funded retirees, they just won't be able to afford to keep the lights on or to turn the cooling on or the heating on when they need it during the year.